This is Kevin with MBA Prep School, and welcome to the MBA Application Series. Today, we're going to continue to discuss the Columbia essays that just came out. Last week, we talked about Essay 1, so now we're going to move on to Essay 2. So the Essay 2 topic is, the full-time MBA experience includes academics, recruiting, and networking. What are your personal priorities, and how do you anticipate allocating your time at Columbia Business School? As I mentioned last week, what makes this year's question different is that Columbia is no longer asking how will applicants take advantage of being in New York City, but instead they're asking how will applicants take advantage of being at Columbia Business School. So why the change? When an AdCom makes the change, it's always because they feel the new essay is going to help them get better and more important information out of applicants. In this case, when they asked applicants before about New York, they got too many essays that talked about how the applicants love the international vibe of New York, or how they look forward to seeing all the shows, or how they wanted to experience Wall Street because, as Columbia states, this is the center of business. But the problem was, these responses were so generic that the essay served no purpose because it didn't allow the AdCom to get to know the applicants any better than before reading the essays. In other words, too many applicants misread the essay question and focused their essays on all the resources that New York offers that had nothing to do with being a Columbia student. You don't have to be a student to go see shows or visit Wall Street or walk around the streets of Manhattan to experience multiculturalism. And if you don't need Columbia to do any of these things, then the essay is essentially irrelevant to the AdCom, because at the core of it, the essay should still be about why you want to choose Columbia as your business school. I mean, yes, being in New York is a big part of the advantage that Columbia brings, but you need to talk about New York-related resources that can only be accessed by Columbia students to demonstrate that going to Columbia matters. Otherwise, you can just visit New York as a tourist and do all these things yourself. So that's why Columbia changed the essay, to make sure more applicants can focus on their reasons for why they want to attend Columbia, and not just why it's cool to live in New York City. And with a short essay like this, you need to answer that question right away and not waste time on generic stuff. So don't write sentences like, I want to attend Columbia to improve my leadership and finance skills. You can do that anywhere. And the question is not asking you why you want an MBA. It's asking you why you want to get an MBA at Columbia specifically. So talk about the Columbia resources you want to utilize and how those resources will strengthen your leadership and finance skills. You discuss your goals in Essay 1, so for this essay, think about the skills and knowledge you need to reach your goals, and which Columbia classes, clubs, programs, or network would allow you to attain these skill sets and knowledge. And in a short essay like this, don't just come up with a laundry list of resources. It's much better to focus on just a few key resources, and then elaborate on why these resources matter to you, given your goals. And just like Essay 1, focus on the professional stuff for this essay. Columbia tells you this is what they want in the essay itself because in the essay question, they refer to 3 specific areas: academic, recruiting, and networking. And these are all professional areas. So save the non-professional discussion for Essay 3, which we'll talk about later. And lastly, as you write this essay, make sure you keep in mind that Columbia is one of those schools that really care about whether an applicant truly believes Columbia is his or her first choice school. So you really have to make sure that you go beyond the generic and demonstrate how extensively you've researched the resources at Columbia to conclude that these resources really make Columbia the best fit for you. This is why Columbia has the early decision program in the first place, because they want to increase the odds that the students they admit will actually end up accepting the admissions offer and attend Columbia rather than go to another school. And Essay 2 is the best place to prove to the Columbia AdCom that you're gung-ho about their school.